Okay. Have you ever felt like you're dragging this invisible suitcase around? It's full of, all those what ifs and unresolved feelings from past relationships.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
But, like, what if there's actually a way to unpack all that?
Unpack it.
Yeah, unpack that emotional baggage, learn from it, and maybe even use it to, build stronger, healthier relationships down the road.
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today, right?
Yep.
Helping you, the listener, figure out how to turn those past heartbreaks into valuable lessons.
Yeah, kind of like relationship cheat
Cheat
codes.
codes, yeah. That's a good one.
Because we're going to unpack this amazing conversation between some real relationship experts.
Oh, they don't hold back, these experts.
No, they get right to the core of why those old hurts can stick around for so long.
Yeah, it's not just about getting over it, is it?
No, not at all.
It's much deeper.
It's way deeper than that.
Because think about it, relationships, they need us to be emotionally invested, right?
Mm.
And when they end, those emotions, they don't just magically disappear.
It's like you put all this time and energy into building something and then bam, it crumbles. There's got to be some emotional, I don't know, debris left behind, right?
Debris, yeah. That's a good way to put it.
It's kind of like, wait, I put so much myself into this and now what?
Exactly. And these experts, they say that's actually totally normal.
It's not like a sign of weakness.
No, not at all. It just means, you cared.
Okay, so that makes me feel a bit better.
It should. They
Yeah.
explain those lingering feelings. They're often tied to, like, unresolved stuff,
Unresolved.
like questions you never got answered or things that were left unsaid,
Oh, so maybe you never really got closure.
right? Or maybe you're, still struggling with guilt or regret. And here's the thing. Ignoring those feelings, it doesn't make them disappear.
Okay, so no more sweeping those emotions under the rug. Got it. But how do we, actually face them head on without getting totally overwhelmed? Because honestly, sometimes it feels like if I open that emotional suitcase, it's going to be a tidal wave.
Oh, I hear you. It can be scary to dive into those deep emotional waters. That's why the experts, they recommend starting small. Yeah, instead of trying to deal with everything at once, focus on like one specific feeling or maybe just one incident.
Okay, so like instead of saying, I'm going to unpack all my relationship baggage today, you could be like, okay, I'm going to look at this one heartbreak that's still, weighing on me.
Exactly. They suggest like finding a quiet moment where you can really tune in, maybe journaling or meditation.
Oh, or even just taking a long walk, being in nature.
Yeah, anything like that. The key is to make a safe space, a place where you can allow yourself to, just feel those emotions without judging yourself.
And here's something the experts mention that I think is really helpful. They say, like, imagine yourself as a compassionate observer.
A compassionate observer.
Yeah, like you're watching a movie of your past
I
relationship.
like that.
It can help you get a little distance from the intensity of it all, and then it's easier to process what actually happened.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like turning those painful memories into, data points for the future. Like you're a scientist.
I love that. Relationship scientists.
Exactly. Analyzing our data. But what about when those old hurts, they like pop up again, even when you've done the work?
Oh, yeah, that happens.
Yeah. The experts say that healing, it's not always a straight line.
Yeah.
It's more like a spiral. You might revisit certain emotions or maybe like whole experiences over and over before you really learn the lesson.
So those times when you get that like familiar pang of sadness or regret, it's not a sign you failed.
Right. It's just part of the process. It's a chance to like practice being kind to yourself and just remember that, hey, you're human.
That's reassuring.
It should be. Those moments of vulnerability, they can actually be really powerful for, growing and becoming more resilient.
Okay, that makes sense. The experts even have this cool technique for dealing with tough emotions.
Oh, yeah. What is
It's
that?
called name it to tame it.
Name it to tame it.
Yep. So simple, but they say it works. So whenever you feel those difficult emotions like bubbling up, you pause.
Pause.
Yeah, and try to like really pinpoint what you're feeling, give it a name, sadness, anger, guilt, whatever it is.
So it's all about acknowledging those emotions instead of trying to push them away.
Exactly. And it's wild. Research actually shows that just naming our emotions can actually make them less intense.
No way, really?
Yeah, it's like flipping a switch in your brain from like reacting to being aware.
Huh. That's fascinating.
I know. So the next time I get that jealousy thing, I'm gonna be like, hello, jealousy, I see you there. What are you trying to tell me?
There you go. Exactly.
Now we're talking. But let's be real. Sometimes those tough emotions come from real hurts, things someone else did to us. So how do we move forward when we're carrying the weight of someone else's actions?
That's when the experts brought up forgiveness. And they're very clear that forgiveness doesn't mean you're condoning bad behavior.
So it's not about letting someone off the hook.
It's about releasing yourself from resentment, from that burden.
So it's more about me than them.
It's all about reclaiming your own peace of mind.
Okay.
Because holding on to anger and resentment, they say it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick.
Wow, I've never thought about it that way, but that makes so much sense.
Right.
But honestly, the how of forgiveness, that's what I struggle with. It feels so abstract.
So you're right. It's not easy. That's why the experts, they talk about this technique. It's called the forgiveness letter.
The forgiveness letter.
Yeah, it's powerful. So you write a letter to the person who hurt you. You pour out all your feelings.
Like everything, the anger, hurt, all of it.
Yeah, everything.
But you don't actually send it.
Right. You don't send it.
So it's more about like getting it out of your system than actually confronting the person.
Exactly. It's about acknowledging your pain, giving it a voice, and then choosing to let it go.
So what do you do with the letter? Burn it.
You can burn it, yeah, tear it up, or just put it away. What matters is the writing.
Wow, I like that. Releasing all that anger and resentment. But what about when those hurts just linger even after we've tried to forgive?
The experts had something for that, too. They talked about boundaries.
Boundaries.
Yeah, not just boundaries in future relationships.
But like boundaries with our own thoughts and feelings.
Exactly. Like you're creating this mental safe space where those old hurts can't get in. So whenever those negative thoughts or, memories pop up, you acknowledge them.
Gently.
Gently, yeah. But then you redirect your attention to something more positive.
So it's kind of like saying, hey, I see you there, old pain, but I'm choosing to focus on something else right now.
Exactly. You're training your mind to focus on what empowers you, not what drags you down.
Yeah.
They even have a visual for this.
Oh, tell me. I love visuals.
Okay, so imagine a beautiful garden, right? Full of flowers, lush and green. That's your mental space.
Okay, pretty.
And whenever those negative thoughts come in, it's like weeds in a garden. You just pluck them out and toss them away.
I love that. Taking control, right?
Yeah. And that ties in perfectly with self-care. Because let's be real, sometimes when we're hurting, the last thing we want to do is focus on ourselves.
So true. You almost feel guilty, like you don't deserve it.
But the experts, they emphasize self-care is not selfish.
It's like essential, right?
Yeah, it's essential for healing, for growth. It's about reminding yourself that you're worthy of love and care.
So are we talking like bubble baths, face masks, the whole works?
It could be those things, yeah. Or it could be reconnecting with hobbies, spending time with friends, anything that nourishes your soul, really.
This is already making me feel more relaxed. But before we drift off to spa daydreams, what about those, those lingering feelings for an ex? Even when you know it's over, sometimes those feelings stick around.
You're so right. And the experts, they approach this with a lot of empathy. They get it. It's normal to still feel connected, even after a breakup.
It's like that saying, the heart wants what it wants.
Exactly. But they have an interesting suggestion. Shift your focus from what you lost to what you're gaining.
Wait, what? I'm usually focused on what went wrong, not on what I might gain.
It's a powerful way to look at it. So instead of focusing on the absence of your ex, focus on the new space you have, the space for growth and new experiences.
Oh, like a fresh start.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about choosing to focus on the positive possibilities.
I like that. It's way better than just wallowing.
It is. And they have a technique for that, too. It's called the gratitude list. So instead of thinking about what you miss about your ex, take some time each day to write down everything you're grateful for.
Oh, so it could be like a sunny day, a delicious meal, just simple things.
Exactly. Anything big or small. And the thing about gratitude is it attracts more positivity.
Oh, that's cool. Like a magnet.
Yeah. But sometimes, even when we're trying to move on, those old self-sabotaging patterns creep back in.
Ugh, I know those patterns well.
The experts say that self-awareness is key here. It's about noticing when you're falling back into old habits and then consciously choosing to do things differently.
So it's about recognizing those moments and saying, nope, not this time. I'm choosing a different path.
Exactly. They even have a name for it. Pattern interrupt.
Pattern interrupt. I like it. So how does that work?
It's all about knowing your triggers. So those situations or maybe thoughts that tend to send you back into those old patterns.
Like seeing your ex's name on social media.
Yeah, that could be one. Or maybe it's a certain song or a place you used to go together.
Got it. So once you know your triggers, then what?
You got to have a plan. A specific action you can take to interrupt that negative spiral.
Like a mental emergency kit.
Yes, Exactly. It could be something as simple as taking a few deep breaths.
Or calling a friend.
Yeah, or going for a walk.
Okay, so it's like having a strategy in place.
Exactly, you're taking back control.
This is so helpful, but I feel like we've only just scratched the surface here.
I know, me too.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. And we have a lot more to unpack in this deep dive. We're going to talk about practical ways to build healthy, happy relationships going forward.
But for now.
For now, let's just pause here and let all this good stuff sink in.
Yes. Think about what really resonated with you. What was your, aha moment? What's one tiny step, one small thing you can do today to, start unpacking that emotional baggage and create some space for a brighter future?
Welcome back. We've been exploring how to turn that past relationship baggage, all that stuff into valuable lessons.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're cleaning out that emotional closet, right?
Exactly.
Getting rid of what's not working, making space for the good stuff. And speaking of cleaning out, I've been thinking about self-sabotage.
Oh, self-sabotage.
Yeah, those patterns that kind of sneak in and trip us up even when we know better. Did the experts have any advice on how to, break free from that cycle?
They did. He said self-sabotage often comes from fear, like a fear of getting hurt again.
Right, like if you've been burned before, you don't want to go through that again. Makes sense.
It's like a defense mechanism, right?
Yeah.
Trying to protect us.
Yeah.
But it can backfire,
Totally. But how do we, get over that fear and actually let ourselves be open to love?
Well, they recommend a two-pronged approach. First, you got to recognize those self-sabotaging behaviors.
Okay, so what are some examples?
Well, think about it. Do you tend to push people away when they get close? Or maybe you're always looking for flaws in potential partners.
Oh, I've totally been there. Overanalyzing every text message, looking for hidden meanings. It's exhausting.
It is. And the experts, they say once you see those patterns, then you got to challenge the beliefs behind them.
The beliefs.
Yeah, because often those beliefs come from past experiences, things we've internalized about ourselves or maybe about relationships in general.
So if you grew up with parents who had a really rocky relationship, maybe you start to believe that all relationships are going to be full of drama.
Exactly. Or, maybe you were cheated on in the past, so now you believe you're not worthy of trust.
Oof, that's heavy stuff. No wonder it's hard to open up when you're battling all that.
Right. It's like carrying around all this baggage.
Yeah.
But the experts say we can change those beliefs.
Change them? How?
By replacing those negative beliefs with positive ones that empower you. And it's not about, pretending the past didn't happen. It's about choosing a different way to look at those experiences.
Okay, so instead of saying I'm not worthy of love, you could say I deserve a partner who respects me and, cherishes me for who I am.
Exactly. You're rewriting your love story. And they even have this cool technique called the affirmation challenge.
Affirmation challenge. I like the sound of that. What is it?
So you choose an affirmation, something that resonates with you, that reflects the kind of love you want.
Okay, so I am worthy of a love that is kind, compassionate, and supportive.
Yes, perfect. It's like planting a seed of positivity. But the trick is to make it stick. So what they recommend is writing it down and putting it somewhere you'll see it all the time.
Oh, like on your bathroom mirror or on your fridge?
Yeah, anywhere like that. The key is to see it multiple times a day so those positive words really sink in.
It's like a constant stream of good vibes, right? Yeah. Counteracting all that negativity.
Exactly. And another thing they talked about was self-compassion.
Self-compassion.
Yeah, especially when you're struggling, being kind to yourself, even when you mess up or feel like you're not good enough.
So instead of beating ourselves up, we can be like, hey, it's okay. I'm learning. I'm doing my best.
Exactly. It's about giving yourself the same kindness you would give a friend. And they have this really cool exercise for cultivating self-compassion.
Tell me.
It's called the hand-on-heart exercise. So whenever you're feeling overwhelmed by, negative thoughts or self-criticism, just place your hand over your heart and take a few deep breaths. Feel the warmth of your hand. Feel your chest rising and falling as you breathe.
Okay, I can already feel myself relaxing just thinking about that.
And that's the point, right?
Yeah.
The experts explain that when we're stressed, our bodies go into fight or flight mode. But when we slow down, connect with our breath and offer ourselves a little bit of touch, it helps us shift into a more, nurturing state.
I love that. Switching from fight or flight to rest and digest.
Exactly. But, even with all this amazing self-work, sometimes those old patterns of attracting the wrong kind of partner, They just keep popping up.
Ugh, tell me about it. It's like we're magnets for the wrong people.
I know, right?
Do.
But the experts, they say it all comes down to understanding your attachment style.
Attachment style.
Yeah, it's basically about how our early childhood experiences shape how we relate to others. It's like a blueprint for intimacy and connection.
So, like, if you had a caregiver who was really loving and consistent, you're more likely to have a secure attachment style, which means you're comfortable with intimacy and you feel good about forming healthy relationships.
Exactly. But if you had a caregiver who was, inconsistent or emotionally unavailable, you might develop an insecure attachment style, which can show up in different ways.
So some people might become like clingy or anxious in relationships, while others might withdraw or avoid intimacy altogether.
You got it. It's like those early experiences create a template for how we expect relationships to be. But the good news is, even if you didn't have the, most secure upbringing, you can still change those patterns.
Okay, that's reassuring. So how do we do that?
The experts say awareness is the first step. You got to understand your attachment style so you can start to see those patterns that might be holding you back.
So for example, if you always get anxious when your partner doesn't answer your text right away, maybe you realize that's coming from an insecure attachment style and it's not necessarily about your partner's feelings.
Exactly. And once you see those patterns, you can start to challenge them and create new ways of relating.
So we can learn new tricks, even if those old patterns are ingrained. I like that.
You got it. And they give some practical tips for that, like practicing self-soothing techniques when you're feeling anxious, or maybe communicating your needs directly to your partner.
Okay, so communication is key.
It's huge. But let's talk about dating.
Ooh, yes, dating. The minefield of love.
Right. But the experts had some really cool things to say about dating. They said it can actually be a powerful tool for self-discovery.
Okay, I'm listening. Because sometimes it feels like every time I try to date, I just end up triggering those old wounds.
I hear you. But they say it doesn't have to be that way. They suggest looking at dating as a chance to practice all those new skills and beliefs you've been working on.
So, like, instead of putting pressure on ourselves to find the one, we can approach it as, like, an experiment in self-growth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be playful, be curious. And they have some specific tips. First, they say, shift your focus from trying to impress your date to just enjoying yourself.
So it's more about having fun than, like, passing a test.
Exactly. And here's a really interesting mindset shift they suggest. Instead of worrying about whether your date likes you, focus on whether you like them.
Ooh, I like that. It's like taking back the power, right?
Exactly. And don't settle. Don't settle for someone who doesn't meet your needs just because you're afraid of being alone.
Right. Know your worth.
Exactly. And they have this exercise to help you get clear on what you want. It's called the Ideal Partner Visualization.
Visualization. I love it. Tell me more.
So you find a quiet place, relax, close your eyes, and just imagine yourself in a loving, fulfilling relationship. See your ideal partner in your mind.
Like their personality, their values, how they make me feel.
Yes, all of that. Be really specific. What qualities are most important to you? What are you doing together? How does this relationship make you feel?
Wow, it's like creating a blueprint for my dream love life.
Exactly. And the idea is by getting clear on what you want, you're sending a message out to the universe.
Oh, I love that. Manifesting.
Yeah. And they suggest writing down all those qualities, making a list, and keeping it somewhere you'll see it often.
Like a reminder of what I'm calling into my life.
Exactly. But sometimes those old patterns, they're tricky, right?
The struggle is real. Like, why do I keep attracting the same kind of not so great partner?
The experts have a solution for that too. It's called the relationship review.
Relationship review sounds intense.
It is, but it's really helpful. You basically take a look at your past relationships, all the significant ones,
Like all the way back to high school.
as far back as you want to go. Grab a journal, and for each relationship, answer some key questions.
Okay, like what kind of questions?
Well, think about what first attracted you to that person. What were the good parts? What were the challenges? What were the absolute deal breakers? And most importantly, what did you learn from that relationship?
Whoa, that's a lot to unpack.
It is. But it can really help you see those patterns,
Yeah.
And then once you see those patterns, you can create something called a relationship vision board.
A vision board for relationships. I'm in.
It's like a regular vision board, but instead of focusing on material things, you're focusing on the qualities you want in your love life.
So like pictures of couples laughing, holding hands, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And quotes about love, trust, intimacy. You can even add affirmations like, I attract a love that is kind, compassionate, and supportive.
I love that. It's like a visual reminder of the love I want to create.
Exactly. And the experts say that when you create this vision board and look at it regularly, you're sending a message to your subconscious mind.
So it's like I'm showing my subconscious what I want.
Exactly. And they recommend spending a few minutes each day just looking at your board, really feeling those qualities, and believing that it's possible.
Okay, I'm sold. But there's still that whole putting myself out there thing. That's the hardest part.
I know, it can be scary. But the experts say the key is to shift your perspective.
Shift my perspective. Okay, how?
So instead of looking at dating as this high-pressure thing, look at it as an adventure.
And adventure.
Yeah, it's a chance to meet new people, expand your social circle, just have fun.
Okay, so maybe instead of jumping into online dating or signing up for a speed dating event, I could just like go to events or meetups that interest me.
Exactly. That way you're more likely to meet people who share your passions.
Yeah.
And be open to meeting people anywhere, not just in like traditional dating settings.
So like at the coffee shop or the bookstore or even like the grocery store.
Yes, love can be found anywhere. And they have a great tip for striking up conversations. Be curious. Ask questions.
So instead of trying to be like super witty, I could just be genuine and, ask about something that sparks my interest.
Exactly. And remember, not every conversation has to lead to a date. Sometimes it's just about connecting with another human being.
That takes the pressure off. This
Yeah.
is all so helpful. I feel like I'm finally starting to get it.
That's awesome. And remember, this whole journey to finding love, it's a process, right? There will be bumps along the way, but just keep your heart open, keep learning, and you'll get there.
This has been amazing. But I feel like we're just getting started. There's so much more to explore.
I know, me too. We're going to talk about practical ways to create the kind of love you deserve in the next part.
But for now, let's just soak it all in. What's resonating with you? What's one little step you can take today to start building that dream love life?
Okay, welcome back. It feels like we've, been on this amazing journey together, unpacking all that baggage, learning from the past, really getting to know ourselves.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It has. But now I think it's time to shift gears a bit.
Shift gears.
Yeah, and talk about how to actually use all these incredible insights, all this stuff we've learned to create the kind of love we, truly deserve.
I love that. From healing to creation. It's like we've cleared the land and now we're ready to build something amazing. Exactly. But, sometimes it feels like finding love is this, like minefield. You never know when you're going to step on something that triggers those old wounds.
Oh, I hear you. Dating can be tough, especially when you're still carrying those hurts. But the experts say it doesn't have to be painful.
Really?
They actually say you can look at dating as a chance to, practice all those new skills and beliefs you've been working on.
So it's kind of like a testing ground for those new relationship muscles.
Exactly, a real-life laboratory.
I like that. It makes it feel less scary, more like an experiment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the first things they suggest is to shift your focus from, trying to impress your date to just enjoying yourself.
It's more about having fun than like trying to pass some kind of test.
Exactly. And here's a really powerful mindset shift they talked about. Instead of focusing on whether your date likes you, focus on whether you like them.
Whoa, that's a game changer. It's like I'm in control now.
Exactly. You're not trying to win them over. You're deciding if they're a good fit for you.
I love that. And it reminds me of something else the experts said, don't settle.
Right. Don't settle for someone who doesn't meet your needs or share your values. You deserve better than that.
I do deserve better.
Yeah.
And the experts have this great exercise for getting clear on what better actually looks like. They call it the ideal partner visualization.
Oh, yeah. Visualizations are so powerful.
I love them. So how does this one work?
Okay, so find a comfy spot, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and just imagine yourself in this amazing, loving relationship. See your ideal partner.
Like see their face, their personality, all that.
Yes, the whole package. What qualities are most important to you? How they make you feel? What do you enjoy doing together?
Wow. It's like painting a picture of my dream relationship. But how does this actually help me find that love in real life?
Well, the experts say that when you get really clear on what you want, you're sending a powerful message out to the universe.
Oh, like we're putting in an order with the universe.
Exactly. And you can reinforce this visualization by writing down a list of those ideal qualities. Keep it somewhere you can see it every day.
Like a reminder of what I'm calling in. I love it. But what about those old patterns that keep popping up, Like, why do I always seem to attract the same type of not so great partner?
Ah, yes, the patterns. The experts have a technique for that too. It's called the relationship review.
Okay, a relationship review. I'm ready. What do I do?
So grab a journal and think about all the significant relationships you've had. For each one, ask yourself a few questions.
Like what kind of questions?
Well, start with what initially drew you to that person. What were the highlights? What were the biggest challenges? What were the absolute deal breakers? And most importantly, what did you learn from that relationship?
Wow, that's some deep reflection right there.
It is. But it can really help you see those patterns,
Yep.
you know? And once you see the patterns, you can create something called a relationship vision board.
Oh, a vision board for relationships. I'm all about that. I use vision boards for everything.
It's awesome. So gather images, quotes, affirmations, anything that represents the kind of love you want to create.
So, like pictures of happy couples, quotes about love and trust.
Exactly. And affirmations like, I attract a love that is kind, compassionate, and supportive. Things like that.
It's like creating this visual representation of my dream love life. But how does it actually work? Does just looking at it make it happen?
Well, the experts explain that when you create this vision board and look at it regularly, you're actually sending messages to your subconscious mind.
Oh, so it's like planting those seeds of intention.
Exactly. And they recommend spending a few minutes each day looking at your board, visualizing yourself living that dream love life. Really feel it.
I love that. Okay, so we've done all this inner work, we've got our vision board, but there's still that last hurdle, putting myself out there and actually meeting people.
I hear you. That's a big one for a lot of people. But the experts say the key to overcoming that fear is to shift your perspective.
Again, with the perspective shifts, I'm starting to see a theme here.
Right. So instead of seeing dating as this like high pressure situation, try to see it as a fun adventure.
An adventure. Okay, I can maybe do that. But where do I even start?
They suggest starting small. Instead of like diving headfirst into the world of dating apps, maybe try attending events or meetups that align with your interests.
So if I love hiking, I could join a hiking group or maybe take a photography class.
Exactly. You're more likely to meet like-minded people, and the conversations will feel more natural, and be open to meeting people anywhere.
You mean love isn't just hiding on dating apps? Mind blown.
Right. The coffee shop, the bookstore, the grocery store, love can be anywhere.
Okay, I'm starting to get excited about this. But what if I see someone I like? How do I actually, break the ice?
I have a great tip for that. Be curious. Ask questions.
So instead of trying to be like super clever or smooth, I could just ask a genuine question about something that interests me.
Exactly. If you see someone reading a book you love, ask them about it. It's that easy. And remember, not every conversation has to lead to a date. Just enjoy the connection.
This is so freeing. It feels like a totally different way to approach dating.
It is. And remember, this whole journey to finding love, it's a process. It's not always easy. But if you keep your heart open and keep learning, you'll find your way.
I believe that. This has been such an incredible deep dive. I feel like we've been given all the tools we need to create amazing love lives.
I agree. We've talked about healing, rewriting our love stories, putting ourselves out there. It's been a lot. And I want to leave our listeners with one last thought from the experts that really sums it all up.
Okay, what is it?
You are worthy of love. Not just any love, but a love that celebrates you for who you are. A love that is deep, meaningful, and lasting. And that love is out there waiting for you. All you have to do is believe it's possible and take those steps to create it.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all this incredible wisdom with us today.
It's been my pleasure.
And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery and love. We'll see you next time.